And it's now my favorite part of my day. Hello, Richard Southern. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Sen? I love the story you've got on the air today, by the way.
Thank you. I had a blast shooting that in Amsterdam. It was a lot of fun.
Interesting
very
debate
cold.
about that because, you know, people are going out less. We know that. So the question of whether or not we're going to have these marijuana cafes here in Toronto is a good one because could boost the retail sector for sure. So it's an interesting debate.
It really is. And they're certainly all on board over there. And it's just part of their lifestyle now. It's quite interesting. All right. Down to business now. There's a chance Canada could get an exemption of those tough trade tariffs U.S. President Donald Trump has been promising. Is there a big sigh of relief out there now?
There could be. Of course, we're waiting for the final details on this, but indeed, a lot of investor relief here just within the last hour or two when we heard from the White House that Canada and Mexico may be spared those devastating import tariffs on steel and aluminum. We heard from White House spokesperson Sarah Sanders, who says the two neighboring countries to the U.S. may get what she calls a carve-out from those tariffs.
The president's been clear that he wants to address the trade imbalances and the unfair practices, and certainly we would take anything into consideration. But as of right now, we're moving fully ahead, and anything that would change would be done so on a national security basis. Any decision for carve-outs.
Now, there's been a massive diplomatic push behind the scenes by Canadian officials in Washington, D.C. and in New York, reaching out to their U.S. counterparts, pleading Canada's case. We import almost 95% of the steel and aluminum we make into the United States, so this is a big issue. Stocks, Cynthia, closed off the worst levels of the day, but still a bit lower. One stock that was higher, Stelco, out of Hamilton, the big steel maker, it was up more than 3% on Bay Street.
I'm sure they're celebrating.
Yes,
All right,
indeed.
some good news now for borrowers. The Bank of Canada is leaving interest rates unchanged, and it could stay that way for some time.
Yeah, you know, a couple of months ago, we were thinking we're going to have a few interest rate hikes this year. Now, with all that trade worry, the NAFTA concerns, maybe not so much. Bank of Canada left its interest rate unchanged at 1.25% today, after, of course, raising it 3 times since June of 2017. The bank making note of the trade concerns, also making note of the fact that fourth quarter growth was a little bit weaker than expected. This kept the loonie lower, Cynthia, Canadian dollar around 77.5 cents U.S.
All right, and many of us are busy doing our taxes these days, my least favorite thing to do. But Richard, what if you have an embarrassing tax question that you're too afraid to ask?
Don't worry, we got you covered. We're all friends here, right, Sen?
Of
so
course.
we can talk some embarrassing tax questions. It's all good. H&R Block actually helping us out with these. So first question, say I suffer from inflammatory bowel disease and the doctor prescribes Imodium. Can I claim it on my taxes, Cynthia? H&R Block says no, you can't claim over-the-counter medication. Okay, next embarrassing question. I moved across the country for a job, but I had to make special travel arrangements for my 3 pet tarantulas. Can I claim it? Yes, moving expenses incurred by all members of your household, including pets, can be claimed on your taxes.
Interesting.
My boyfriend's 6-year-old son with his previous girlfriend and his half-sister, who I'm not related to, moved in. Can I claim the child tax benefit for them? This was another embarrassing question, and it turns out that, yes, related or not, if you and your boyfriend have primary care and responsibility or shared custody of the children, you can get the CCB. Another embarrassing tax question. Say I work from home, I host clients in my home office. Can I claim landscaping bills? Yes, you can if your home office is your primary workspace.
Ah, very interesting.
Never be afraid to ask, Sen.
Never be afraid, of course. Now, drinking and driving, of course, is an absolute no-no, but should there be similar warnings for drinking and shopping? New research finds we spend a lot of money while shopping drunk. I wouldn't know. I don't think I've ever done it, but no, I suppose that makes sense.
You're a lot more responsible than the rest of us, Cynthia, but a lot of people do. This is a big study out from Finder.com. It found that 46% admit to shopping while drunk.
Really?
And those, yes, 46%. And look at that, Cynthia. Those that do, they spent $448 while intoxicated in 2017. Men spent more than women. No surprise there, I don't think. Generation X, though, spent triple what millennials did while intoxicated. So what's everyone buying when they're tipsy? Food, no surprise, tops the list. Then you get to clothes and shoes and gambling, which, of course, could be a major issue when you're a little bit inebriated. The Cynthia experts say maybe set some limits on your credit or debit card, and if you found that you have bought something when you sober up, try and get a refund on it.
Good idea. All right, speaking of drinking, St. Patrick's Day, nice segue there. St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner, and a legendary Irish whiskey brand is footing the bill for TTC streetcars that night. What a great marketing ploy.
Oh, it sure is. Jameson's Irish Whiskey is ponying up the money to make certain streetcar routes free on St. Patrick's Day. Not all of them, though. It'll be the 504 King, the 514 Cherry, and the 501 Queen free on St. Paddy's Day between 4 p.m. and 2:30 a.m. Jameson can afford it. They are seeing surging sales amid big popularity of Irish whiskeys.
Interesting. I wonder how much the bill will be.
Yeah, we don't know. They didn't release the details on that.
Yeah, is there a tipping point, like where they'll raise the ceiling?
But again, it's only 3 routes. It's not the subway, so just a small segment there.
Yeah, all right. Rounding out the booze theme, Coca-Cola, this is surprising me, is launching its first alcoholic beverage.
Getting into the booze biz, developing a drink. It'll be the first time in the company's 125-year history it's done this. Now, it's only going to be selling it in Japan. There'll be a local spirit in Japan in the Coke called soju. Coke declining to say when this will launch or if they'll bring it to other countries. Fact of the matter is, though, people are drinking fewer of the regular Coke beverages. They're shying away from sugary drinks on a whole, and so Coke's looking to diversify to fatten their bottom line.
Survival.
Yes.
All right, Richard. Always great to see you. Thanks so very much.
Thanks, Sid.